What's up, guys? Oh my gosh, last night's episode just literally had me on the edge of my seat. Like, I felt like it was a finale. I don't know if you guys felt like that too, but it was just so good. It easily could have been a finale. So this has me thinking, like, if this episode was so fantastic, what is next week's finale going to be like? Because wow. Just want to shout out those of you who are in the room. And currently I see Vanessa and Samar. And if you are joining us, just go ahead and say hey so that I can give you a shout out as well. And you guys can go ahead and tell me what you thought about last night's episode. There is just so much involved in this storyline now, so many things we need to talk about, and I'm kind of worried. Like, I'm worried for Detective Clements because I don't know what's going to happen with him. I guess it's not like the best idea in the world to cut off his thumbs, and now he has like one partially cut off and no medical attention. I don't know what's going to happen with that, and he already has that head injury, so I'm very concerned for him. Hey, Terrence, thank you so much for being here. And it's just crazy that like Jane had a baby and she didn't have any medical attention, and I don't even know how that worked. That was kind of crazy to me. Hey, Mark. So some of the stuff is just like, I don't know how the detective is still alive and doing okay with all the different issues that he has going on right now. But like I told you guys, I for sure thought that Doug would not turn himself in as far as admitting to the crimes he committed. So of course, there is no concrete proof. It's kind of some stuff I tweeted out during last week. And I just knew that there was no way that they could put him in jail because there wasn't going to be any concrete proof. Plus, I knew that Ben would lie for him. But I guess we need to figure out now, what do you guys think is Ben's deal? Last night, I completely disliked Ben and am like 99% sure he's a villain. However, some people were still tweeting me they felt sorry for him and feel like he is still a victim. So I would love to hear your thoughts on all of these things. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Brianna. I'm so glad to see you guys again. And I'm really kind of sad that we only have 1 week left of this show because out of all the shows that I watch and do videos on for YouTube, it has to be way up there in the top 2. I just think it's that fantastic. Vanessa says, knew that Ben was going to say that Doug wasn't the kidnapper. Yeah, I pretty much knew for sure that was going to happen. I don't know what kind of agreement they have going on, but there's some kind of agreement. I have to go back to what Brittany said. Don't know if she's here tonight, but she's been saying this since the beginning, that she still thinks that Doug is Ben's dad. I still think that's a huge possibility. I wanted to give big props to Bridie, who honestly, I dislike her character so much, but she discovered something no one else did, and that was Ben's mom. I didn't figure that out till near the end of the episode, but I did figure it out before she said her son's name was Ben. So that kind of explains to you why he doesn't have a family. It's not that his mom bailed on him or didn't want to be part of his life, but she had some legal issues and she was in jail and her kid was in the foster system when she got out. Now, could she have tried harder to reunite with him? Possibly. But we don't know who the mystery boyfriend is, and I just think it makes so much sense that it's Doug. So Mark is getting so annoyed with Ben. Definitely think that I'm right, that he's going to be a villain. Felt sorry for him at the start of the season, but not anymore. Definitely felt a lot of empathy for him for a long time, and especially when he told the story of being down in that hole with Adam and how bad they were treated and like how they had no food really. I really did feel bad for him and felt that he was a victim. But now, I mean, not only the fact that he covered for Doug, when he looks at people like Willa, when he freaked out when she said he needed to go away and go to boarding school, or at least pretend to go to boarding school but go away, the looks that he was giving are straight up villain looks. I'm sorry, I can't. I honestly was angry. I don't know if you've ever watched a show and you've been mad. And I wasn't mad at the show because I've definitely watched shows where I was actually mad at the show, but I was mad at what was going on and I wanted some justice. Like, I was furious with Ben in this episode, the way he was acting, the way he was manipulating John, trying to, say how he wanted to move into the Capitol and all of that, which obviously that's happening because she was elected governor, or she won the race. So she'll have to go through the official election or to officially be elected and announced governor. You know what I mean? Sworn in. So some of that family is going to be moving into the Capitol, I guess, unless she, for some reason, turns it down. because she knows now that Ben is evil. I'm so glad that Claire knows that Ben is evil. But I will say I'm not 100% sure that he killed Adam, because they've thrown that out there pretty early. They've said it in several episodes. That may be a bit too easy. So Vanessa says it was creepy when Ben was in Willa's room. I completely agree. Willa was somebody who I didn't really like through much of the first half of this season, but I've come around to really liking her, and I don't think she's that evil. And I just feel like, I mean, I feel like she could be doing more though, because if I were her, I would be like, look, Mom, we have to get this kid out of our house. We have to come clean with all of this. You know, he could have killed my brother, and I can't try. Who knows what else he's going to do, okay? Like, I don't know what else he's going to do. Maybe he might try to kill one of them. Maybe he might try to kill Willa because she's standing in his way. I don't know. But he just needs to go. And of course, I was very, very angry with Doug. I was so angry at him being so, like, you know, smug with Nina because she knows he did it and he knows he did it. You know, he was so smart to throw his jacket, pay a kid to take his jacket. He's always ahead of the game. I hated the way he was talking to Nina. I can't stand Doug. I really sincerely hope he is killed next week. I want him gone, and I really hope something bad happens to Ben. I'm sorry, not sorry for saying that. Hi, Esther. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So I know I've been talking a ton, and I would love to hear more of your guys' thoughts on last night's episode, and what do you think is going to play out in the finale, and what could possibly be a cliffhanger, even though we probably can't figure it out, but the cliffhanger to bring us to season 2. So Aaron says, apparently Ben tells Danny he isn't Adam, so I'm wondering when John finds out. Yes, we see in the preview that he tells him his name is Ben. So I think that Danny's probably had an idea, as we know he's had an idea that that wasn't Adam, but I think it's not going to be a big shock. For John, I think it is going to be a shock, and it's going to be very upsetting. Hi, Ricky. I just started 6 minutes ago, so I start at 6 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. Thank you for being here, though. Mark says the promo for the finale shows a flashback of Adam trying to strangle Doug. Think that Ben will murder Adam before he manages to kill Doug. Definitely think Ben is his son. And I know that Brittany isn't here right now, but she pretty much watches all my videos, and she literally is the person who came up with this theory, and I haven't really seen anyone else online or anything have that theory that far back. So I just think that if that is true, she deserves mad props from all of us, because I can't take credit for that. That was her idea that I kind of agreed with, but it was definitely something that she came up with, and I think it's very close to being true, and to come up with that theory so early on is really cool, in my opinion, if that ends up being true, because it wasn't an obvious thing at all. I think, yes, I think that Ben, if he killed Adam, it's because he didn't want his dad to be killed. So I really don't understand if Ben was kept down there and mistreated as, you know, the same way that Adam was, or if he was assisting or helping and kept, you know, kidnapping these boys. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's something we'll get the answers to next week, but I think that if he is Doug's son, we should find out next week. Ricky says, how crazy is Bridie for casing out the diner for watching Ben's mom? So obviously she pretty much knew that Ben's mom worked there, but I think she wanted that confirmation. So she waited and waited and waited and tried to talk her up until she was just like, you know, what's your son's name? She said Ben, then she knew for sure. Now, the thing is that Bridie is probably very close to dropping her exclusive story, and she knows more than anyone. I will definitely could see that coming out next week, her story. So interesting. Now, what I don't know is if Bridie knows who Ben's dad is. She may also know that, and that may also be the way they tell us who his dad is. Vanessa, I'm very concerned about Detective Clements, who is Nina's partner, because I'm having a feeling he's not gonna, I always have like a strange itch here when I'm doing these things. I have a feeling that he is not going to live at this point, because I don't see, the only way I see him living is if they kill Doug or arrest him or something, but I'm just really, really concerned for him. He's just not in good physical health because he has that head injury. Now he is massively bleeding from his hand. And at first I really, you know, for a while I thought he was going to get out, but I don't really know. And apparently they're going to have him make a phone call or do something that says he's, you know, can't deal with the pressure and wanted to leave his job, or he wanted to kill himself or something awful, so that the police will think, you know, he voluntarily left and he's not being held by somebody. And the other thing is that I felt very, very bad for Nina because now people are thinking she's crazy because she already messed up once and put the wrong guy behind bars for this crime. And now she's trying to, say that some other guy was the one, and everyone thinks that it's not him. However, I'm very happy that Claire realizes that Doug is the guy, and I think Willa does too. And of course, Hank. Kay binge watched all the episodes so that you could come to the chat. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're a fan of the show. And like I've said from the beginning, I just fell in love with this show. Several of you recommended it. I have no sponsorships at all with anything that I do, any shows, but I just feel like it's such a fantastic show, and it's a new show. I'm a bit concerned about it as far as getting renewed. I noticed one of the producers of the show was tweeting out today to go to abc.com, and there's a special link that she tweeted where you can leave feedback on your favorite shows. So I did that and I tweeted it out. So if you want to do the same, it might help. And I don't know if she's doing that because she's concerned about it being renewed. Really don't know, but if you guys love it as much as I do, which I know you do, it literally took 2 seconds to fill out like your name and email and say why you like the show. You just pick from a drop down of all the ABC shows. Hank, honestly, Aaron, Hank does annoy me. He has some serious issues. We know that. We also found out that he's pretty much going to stop his hormone treatments or his treatments to make him a eunuch. So I don't know what's up with that, but he's deeply troubled. And he annoys the crap out of me. I mean, I know a lot of people feel sorry for him, but I don't know if I can feel sorry for him. Okay, so Ricky's asking, why do I think Ben didn't say it was Doug? Because I think he's his son, and he's not going to put his dad behind bars. Or he killed Adam, and he knows that Doug will rat on him if he points him out. So we'll see. Okay, so Ricky says, waiting to see what the conversation was about when Doug came to the Warrens' house to have a talk. Sure, me too. Clearly, we're cordial because Ben met up with him later at the park to update him. Obviously, I think that I was very suspicious when he came to the house, and then Ben didn't tell anyone, and nothing bad happened to Ben. But then after they met at the park, I was pretty much confirmed that Ben's a villain because he had this nonchalant conversation with him. They acted like buddies. He didn't seem scared or any of that. I think when he acts scared and when he did that, like at the mall and stuff, that was acting, in my opinion. Brianna says, hope that if Clements makes the call, hope they're able to track the location. Yeah, I think that Doug's probably too smart for that to happen. So I don't know if they're going to have him make a call or what they're having him do, but sadly, it's not looking so good for him. So I don't know. Kay's asking if I think maybe Ben and Doug have something planned already. I do think they have some plans. I think that's why they've met a couple of times. I think they probably have backup plans, etc. Because Doug is a smart guy, because most criminals are. So we'll see. Vanessa's asking about feedback, that link that I tweeted out. It allows you to leave feedback for any ABC show. It's very simple. It just takes you to a page where you can put your name and email, and then you pick from the drop down any ABC show. So you could do it multiple times for different shows. How to Get Away with Murder is another good one. But I think for this one, it's more important because I don't know the future, and I don't know how popular it is, and I don't know if it's going to be renewed. Speaking of The Catch, I know that one's in hot water. So if you're a fan of The Catch, you want it to be saved. It's not like a form that's like, save this show's going to be canceled. It's just a way for you to give feedback on any show. Like, you can go on there and say that you hate a certain show or whatever. Kay agrees that Ben could be the reason Adam died. Mark is asking if I watched Quantico. I did watch it. Yes, thankfully I wasn't spoiled. I watched it today. And what I need to say about Quantico is, if you watch it, I thought that, the person who they revealed as the terrorist was interesting, but I am going to finish this season and not watch it anymore because I really am bored to tears with that show. And I just don't like it anymore. And if you like it, I'm sorry, and that's cool, and you keep watching it, but I just am not a fan, and I'm just going to give up on it because when I'm not into a show, there's no point in me coming on here and doing chats and videos if I don't like it myself, is how I feel. I think it's Emmy. Hi, thank you so much for being here. Vera says maybe he's scared of him, the Stockholm Syndrome. They may spin it that way. It's going to make me a little bit aggravated if they spin it and say that he was afraid of Doug and he's just been going along with things because he didn't want to be murdered or whatever. Maybe Doug has threatened to murder his real mother. I really don't know what's going on. They very much made it seem like, I don't know how you couldn't think that Adam or that Ben was a villain. They've definitely made it seem that way. So if they go back on that and then make him like a pitiful victim, I'm going to be a little bit annoyed. They don't have to make him, Adam's murderer. That's fine. But I'm going to be upset if they try to act like he's been scared and everything, because that scene at the park, he didn't act scared at all. And I don't care, even if, you're being blackmailed or whatever is going on, forced to do something, you're going to be nervous and a little scared talking to this guy rather than just like, we're good friends. We're just having a chat. Not surprised who the terrorist is what Aaron is saying about Quantico. The thing about Quantico, and I'll quickly talk about that and get back on this show, is that there weren't very many options for the terrorists, and you knew they were going to pick someone who was, not obvious, which at least they did that. But I kind of had an idea it could be like 3 different people who were not obvious, and I had an idea that this person who ends up being the terrorist could be quite a while back. And it's just kind of like, I wasn't shocked. Like, am I supposed to be shocked? But then, if you were to ask me, like, who do I want to be the terrorist? I don't know, because I think any choice wouldn't have been that great or that shocking, because there's not that many people to choose from. So I just don't think that, for me, it's just not a show that interests me anymore. At one point it did. Ricky says, what do I think Mrs. Warren is going to do now that she is, well, she's actually governor, or she was mayor, and Ben is acting so normal and ignoring his fake sister's request about boarding school? I don't know. I'm hoping that she takes some major action, because, I mean, if I were her, I would just be like, look, you are 19. I don't even know if I would want to help him or pay for some place for him to go. And I don't know why he'd be going to boarding school at 19, maybe just because he never went to high school. But I would be really disgusted with him, because I wouldn't have known, like, did he kill my son or did he hurt he's already said he's hurt him. So I would just kick him out. I don't know. Emmy's asking if I'm excited for Scream Queen season 2. I am. I have not heard when that premiere date is. I had heard some people say it would be in the fall. But if you know of a specific date, let me know. But of course, I love that show. I'm excited for a lot of these shows to come back that are my favorites, and a lot of them are. That's okay, Ricky. Yeah, she was already mayor, and she won the race for governor, and she hasn't been officially sworn in, so I guess we can't say she is the governor yet, but she did win the race last night. There's a chance that she'll back out a bit or something. I mean, she was so distraught she couldn't even come out and talk to her supporters. So I don't know how she's going to handle that. I mean, she could think there's so much drama and this stuff's going to come out with Ben not being the real Adam. Maybe I should just say I don't want this job. I don't know. Aaron would have kicked him out the second he revealed he wasn't Adam. Absolutely. That's how I feel. I think she felt sorry for him. She wanted to kick him out, but then he started telling her all those stories about how well he knew Adam and all the things Adam talked about for 10 years. I think she felt bad for him, and she felt like, well, he's kind of like the next best thing to Adam. But she never really felt like, oh, this is my son, But after this point where she knows he let a kidnapper and maybe murderer go free, I don't see how she can keep him in her house. I don't see how she can support him. Honestly, that money that Willa gave him, I would make him return it. I don't know. So Ricky thinks that maybe what the dad and Danny will do when he finds out. I'm just hoping that that Ben gets punished. I know that some of you guys are going to hate me for saying that, but I really dislike him so much. And I don't, the looks on his face, the attitude that he had in last night's episode made me so furious. Like, I tweeted out several times how mad I was at him. I don't think they should give him anything. He should just, he's an adult. Goodbye. You can leave. You can go find something on your own, go get a job, whatever. I wouldn't care. What do I think will happen if John finds out that Ben isn't Adam? I definitely think he's going to find out next week. I think he's going to be very mad. I have said from the beginning that when he finds out, he'll move out and he'll divorce Claire. That's what I think is going to happen. So Mark thinks that Nina will redeem herself and shoot Doug. Earlier in the season, she shot that kidnapper in the motel. I think that was foreshadowing. Yes, she shot the kidnapper when she really shouldn't have, because she didn't know what was going on. She's had some screw ups with her career, but I do think she will end up being on top. So I agree with you. Brianna liked the scene between John and Nina, wished that Nina would have told him the truth, and Adam and Ben, though. I thought for a minute that, John was still going to be cool with Nina, but then all of a sudden he was like, don't ever talk to my family again. He thinks she's crazy now. Everyone thinks she's crazy, and that really bothers me. Ricky wants to know if I think Doug will ever be caught because Nina is going crazy over this case. I do think so. I think he'll probably end up dead, which I thought for a while. I don't know who's going to do it. I don't know if he'll kill himself, if she'll kill him, if Ben kills him. You never know what that kid's going to do. I think Ben's going to stick around, though. I don't think anything's going to happen to him as far as being killed or anything. But I think that Doug is not this story. I think he is a minor character who's just a part of the story, but I think Ben is our real story. In that way, and in my mind, Ben has to be the villain, because if we lose Doug to jail or death or something, we have to still have a villain, and it's not Hank. So I think it's going to be Ben. It'll be interesting to me to see how they keep this show going past this season, and especially past the second season. I don't know what all they can do, or maybe they're going to reveal some big stuff next week that could very much advance it. But I just feel like, okay, so if we know that Ben is evil, and then we know that Doug is evil, and something happens to Doug, I'm not really sure where we go from here, especially since Ben is 19. So I don't know. Emmy's asking if I'm going to finish watching PLL. Yes, I am. Most likely because I've watched it for years and years and years. I feel like I've been watching it for half of my life. I really have no idea who these Uber A person or whatever. I'm really annoyed by all of that storyline. So I don't know. I really haven't decided about chats and videos because, like I said about Quantico, it's hard for me to do videos and chats about a show I don't like. And I don't really like that show anymore, just going to be honest. Ricky says, clearly scared of going out in the real world. This is talking about Ben, because whatever his secret relationship is with Doug, he was still stuck in a chamber for 10 years. He's terrified. I mean, you could see the look on his face when Willa told him he needed to leave and go to a boarding school. He looked so scared. And I understand that, absolutely. But I don't know what his, what was going on. Was he living down there the entire time? Or was he just, was he living there to watch over Adam and to keep him in line? Was he participating in the abuse? Like physical and sexual? I don't know. Maybe he was involved in some of that. That's disgusting, but I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. Ricky thinks his girlfriend will kill him. She's so fed up with his behavior and lies. I think that's a great possibility, and I would love that. And Jane is not as bad of a character as I once thought, but she's a very confused person, and she's just been stuck with this manipulative. She's been controlled by him for so long, and she's finally, and I think that Detective Clements is helping her, finally getting some courage to stand up and speak out, and I think she could definitely kill him. Vanessa says, if Jane kills Doug, I think she will still be arrested. Yes, she definitely needs to be arrested. She has assaulted this detective. She has kept him. She's kidnapped him, essentially. She's been in on this. She could have called 911 a long time ago and hasn't. She definitely could have called the police during the time that Doug was gone. So she's definitely in trouble herself. So I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know if she could commit suicide or something like that, because she knows, I think she's very scared because she knows she's going to jail. So Aaron doesn't even care about who Uber A is, just want to know what happens to Hannah. I definitely want to know what happens to the girls, and what happens to their relationships. Seriously, at this point, and I do care about that. And I really love the actresses, and I love Shay Mitchell for one, because I still get to keep up with her on YouTube. I love her YouTube videos, and I just like the fashion and everything. So yeah, I like it from that point, but I really don't like theorizing on that show at all. Ricky says Ben is clearly socially incapable. I agree. He is awkward, and I don't know what situation he's had, but he's not had a good life. It doesn't give him an excuse to hurt people or murder people, but he was in the foster system, and if that's his dad's really messed up, and he was living down there in that hole, and I don't know what was going on there, but he probably can't relate to most people because, yes, his life has been very crazy. Mark says it was such a coincidence that the cop tried to get out of the handcuffs by chopping off his thumb. Then in Quantico, Drew tried to do the same by breaking his thumb. You know what? I thought the very same thing, and I watched Quantico after the family, and I thought, why didn't the detective try to break his thumbs, which was way easier than sawing them off, which didn't work? Maybe that wasn't possible, or maybe in the family they just wanted to try to saw them off for a more dramatic, disgusting effect. I'm not sure. Ricky thought it was dumb of Doug to be questioning her of the blood, and he automatically assumed it was Clemens instead of her having the baby. Well, he never even cared or asked how she was doing or how the baby was, because he probably doesn't care about the baby either. It was just probably another ploy to get her to stick around. If they had a baby together, he would stop doing stuff, or he would always be a good guy or whatever. But I just don't even understand that. I feel like he's probably gonna go down there and look at the detective at some point and realize that half of his thumb is off or something. Like, I don't see how he can't ever go down there. Like, he doesn't trust her, obviously, because she's spoken out against him. So I don't see the fact that he's never going to go look at that detective and see what kind of position or what kind of condition that he's in. Hi, Vera. Thank you so much for being here tonight. But gosh, like, I just know that next week will be crazy because this week's episode was fantastic. Like, it was so good. And I know I say that about every episode, but they really are wonderful, and each one is better than the last. So I know they'll have some shocking stuff in store for us next week, and I can't wait. And I know because they've promised that they're going to have, a big cliffhanger, and I can't even figure out what that could be, probably because we can't, but I'm super excited for that. Absolutely. If you are new to my channel and you love The Family or other types of mystery shows, I cover a ton of them, like Scream Queens and MTV Scream and Pretty Little Liars, or at least I used to. I can't even remember all the different shows I do. How to Get Away with Murder. I would love for you to subscribe and thumbs up this video because you may watch other shows and you may discover that you like some of the same shows that I do. So, and that would be awesome. So Vanessa thinks Hank might be the one that shoots Doug. Well, definitely. I think that's a really good idea because Hank despises Doug and he wants to be the hero. So that's actually the best idea that I've heard. I could definitely see that happening because he would love to be on the news as, he wants to redeem himself and his name. So he would love for the news to be saying that Hank Asher killed this terrible kidnapper. Absolutely. So Ricky wants to know if I think Willow will break up with Bridie. Yeah, I think that she definitely knows now, especially with Danny talking to her. And Danny's been a really great brother to her, that Bridie's using her and has been using their family. So I really hope she has no more interactions with her because Bridie, even though she's smart, she's not a good person. Live Periscope next week for The Family. Well, that's definitely something I could do. If you guys are interested, I could possibly kind of what I did once before with Pretty Little Liars is that I watched the finale live. The only issue I have with that is I don't know how many of you guys are on the East Coast because I am, and that would be when I was watching it. So I'd be watching it at 9 p.m. Eastern. So I know a lot of you guys are not on the East Coast. I don't know if anyone is. So you guys let me know. I'd have to have at least like probably 5 or 6 people, or it just would be stupid for me to be talking to myself on there. But let me know if you would be interested in watching me live on watching together with me as we watch the show, and I would, kind of make comments on Periscope. But I know a lot of you are in different countries and everything. So I don't know how you would see it. And then if you tried to watch my Periscope, you would be completely spoiled if you had no access to the show at that time. So I don't know. Ricky thought it was interesting that they revealed how he became a sex offender. He never touched a kid. Yeah, I think we pretty much knew that he hadn't actually touched anyone or assaulted anyone, but we didn't know how it all played out. It was very disgusting, but they said it was like public indecency, where he exposed himself in public. It did, to me, I was thinking he was standing up outside or, exposing himself to children. It wasn't really like that. But it was still disgusting, and obviously, if you guys, any of you are parents or whatever, I think that it would very much bother you. Even though he was in his car, he was looking at those people's children, and that was disgusting. But when you get on the sex offender list, even if it's a minor-ish kind of incident, you're on there for life, as you heard. So that's just kind of how it goes. There's not a lot of gray area. So Aaron says, if John finds out about Ben by Bridie's story, won't be surprised and will be so disappointed in Willa and Claire by not saying anything. That could be absolutely how it happens. And I think that would make him even more mad that it comes out in the media and his own family knew and didn't tell him. And she may even say in the story that Willa knows and that Claire knows, and won't say anything. I think she definitely doesn't want Claire to be governor. She would love to have that taken away from her, so it's not good. Mark is still holding out hope that the bakery woman is Doug's ex-wife. I really think that the waitress is his ex-girlfriend, so I don't see them going there with another mysterious ex-somebody. I don't know. Vera says he just used Ben to eliminate him as a suspect. Maybe he's scared of him or he's manipulated him or threatened the family if he didn't clear him. And that could be true, but they seem too calm around each other. They seem too buddy-buddy. And he has a lot of sinister looks. So I don't know. I mean, it could be both. He could be being manipulated or threatened, plus he's in on it in a way. Not sure. Ricky thinks that Doug made some sort of deal with Ben about clearing him in the lineup when they met at the bench that day. Absolutely, they have some kind of arrangement working out. And if he did kill Adam, that could be it because, you know, if he turns Doug in, Doug says, well, I have proof that he killed Adam. So, well, hello, you don't want to be, he would go to jail. As he's an adult, he's going to go to jail for murder. So we'll have to see. But I think all of that will be played out and answered next week. I think we will get those answers. I don't know, but I kind of feel like we'll get the answer as to who killed Adam. What do you guys think? Vanessa thinks Doug probably has a lot of wives or girlfriends or whatever and is using them. I mean, obviously, I don't believe this guy is attracted to women, at least I don't think. So he's using them in some way or using them to make himself have a certain image, like he's a family guy or he's someone who's into women and not little boys. It's just part of his plan because I do think he has a lot of plans and he's a clever, but what is the word? He's just a manipulative guy, you know? So Ricky says that's probably why he answered Willa honestly when she asked him if he killed him. So he didn't say he killed him though, right? He just said he hurt him, right? I don't remember Ben ever confessing to that murder, but not really sure. But I know that Willa thinks that he killed Adam because she told her mom that. He knows he can't get put away for it because only him and Doug know what really happened, right? So they definitely have an agreement. And again, sometimes I just think it's too easy that he did kill Adam. But then on the other hand, what I've thought about is that I don't understand why Doug has put Jane in charge of the detective. And I just feel like if he is going to be murdered, he would make her do it. So I kind of have this feeling, because she's even made statements saying he's not going to kill you. I think that Doug is not a murderer. Like, he may be willing to abuse people physically, sexually, mentally, but there's some things he doesn't want to do and he doesn't want to kill someone, you know? So I'm kind of wondering if he didn't kill Adam because it's not something he wants to do. He's not comfortable with that. So he has other people do his work. I don't know if he instructed Ben, forced him, manipulated him, whatever, to kill Adam, or if he wanted to kill him on his own because he was jealous or because he was afraid he would hurt his dad, if that's his dad. So I don't know, but it's just such a good show. Like, I love it. I'm going to miss it, but I know that when it ends, we have other stuff coming up, and the next thing is going to be Scream on MTV at the end of this month. So that's great. And if you haven't watched that yet, season 1, please do it. It's on the MTV, I think the app, and you might be able to get it like on Netflix. I think they tweeted today that it just came out on DVD, so you have a couple of weeks to catch up. It's a very short season. I watched it in less than a week. So I'm just telling you that because it's really good, and I think you guys will love it. Very good. So Vera says that maybe Ben and Adam got into a fight and he hit his head. And I've also thought that that's true. Maybe it was kind of an accidental killing, or it wasn't a real murder, but he assisted in it somehow. I don't know. And I've also thought, like, the injuries that Ben has, sometimes I think that, or the ones he had, I think maybe they did those on purpose to make him look abused when he wasn't actually abused. Ricky says in the flashback for when Adam was there, it showed he was sick and shivering, so his head didn't look injured. But sometimes I think that the flashbacks, because we were told about those flashbacks from Ben's point of view, I have a feeling a lot of that could be made up or, you know, altered to make him look like more of a victim. So I will be interested to see if even that was true. Vanessa says there should be a crossover between this show and How to Get Away with Murder, 2 great shows. Yes, I mean, absolutely, How to Get Away with Murder is excellent, and I like the fact that it's very, very different from this show, and they're both so good, and they're 2 shows that I always wait, you know, to come back and hate when they're over. Mark is excited for Scream, but worried season 2 will be 14 episodes instead of 10, and season 1 was already slow enough. I didn't find it slow at all, but I don't know. I really liked it because I was able to watch it quickly. I thought it was good. The only thing I will say about Scream is that, kind of to me, like the movies, I love the Scream movies. The first one I felt like was excellent, but after that, I felt like each one wasn't as good, and none of them were as good as the first. And I kind of think that's the way it is for sequels of movies. So I wonder if the second season will be not as good as the first, and if they have more, if it'll kind of go down from there. Because I think the very last Scream was just kind of almost a comedy and ridiculous, but I still watch them because I'm just a fan of the franchise. But I don't know if it'll be excellent every single time, but I will keep an open mind about it because I really love the first season. Ricky says Ben made it seem deliberate when he spoke to Willa. He definitely said he hurt Adam, but I don't remember him saying he killed him. So he said he hurt him, and he looked evil when he said it. Yeah, I've watched like 2 trailers for Scream, and I know there was a new one last week, and if there's one this week that's come out, I haven't seen that, but the ones I've watched looked really good. The detective was sweating too after he got hit, and he's got an open wound on his head, that detective, so I'm very concerned for him. Mark thinks that Scream on MTV was slow because they literally were like 4 episodes in a row with no deaths, and all the deaths were spoiled in the trailers except one. Well, for one, I never watched the trailers for that because I was watching it like a million months after it aired, or several months. So maybe that's why I didn't, find it quite as upsetting. But yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I don't feel like they have to have a death in every episode, but maybe they'll have more deaths this season. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, he got an infection from the detective was hit with that pan, and he got an infection because it was never treated, and he still has that, I guess. And now he has half of his thumb missing, and he's bleeding a lot, and I don't know about him. Either he's gonna get killed because they don't want to deal with him, or he's just gonna die because he's got all these medical issues and no medical attention, and I'm not feeling too good about his chances right now. I'm just very, very concerned. So I guess we'll just wrap it up here because it's been 36 minutes, but I've enjoyed it so much, and it's gone by so fast. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And most of you have been here for like every live chat for the family. And that's awesome because the last thing I want to do is talk to myself in these things. But thank you guys so much for being here. I cannot wait till next week's finale. I really hope you'll come to the chat next Monday. And again, my video for this episode will be up tomorrow. And some of you are talking about Scream, so I'll look at that real quick. I do love how they have famous people make cameos, like Ricky says, in MTV Scream and then kill them off quickly. So I think that if a famous person shows up in the first episode of season 2, then we will know that they probably aren't going to make it very long, which is fine because that's what the movie did. They do a lot of things closely to what the movie did, and I really love that they stick to that. Jake is totally going to die. Probably. Vanessa says in the new Scream trailer, it showed that maybe some of the cast of the first season might be killed. The only thing also that I'm a little confused about is I know that some of the people who played certain people in season 1 have been like replaced with new people. So I'm going to have to figure out and get used to like who is who and who are the new people. So I'll see. But Holly, I'm so sorry that you missed this, but it'll be up on my channel in like 10 minutes so you can watch all of it. If you want to leave comments, I will always go back and reply. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. I love you guys so much for always supporting my channel and all the shows that I watch. And I will see you tomorrow with a new video. So bye, guys.